Lemon basil, you can't beat it. So here we have lemon basil that's been cut. I draped it over a cookie sheet, and I'm keeping it in a room where we have plenty of warmth, but not that much light. You don't want your basil or any dried herbs to have direct sun, certainly not direct sun, and as little light as possible. Now this I set out 2 days ago. You can see it's quite wilted. These I set out this morning. The leaves will be dry and crispy before the stems are actually dry, which is fine, because you're not that interested in the stems anyway. Now with basil, the stem, the flower heads, the leaves are all carry the oil, so they all have flavor. But for the most part, I don't think you want your stems in your stew. So I let them dry to the point that those little flower heads are ready to strip off. The leaves I can strip off. And you can see this piling up here. Now these are fairly clean. That's always a question. How do you get them clean? They started out clean. What I do is water my herbs the night before I'm going to cut. And I sprinkle them with a garden sprinkler and make sure they're nice and clean. They have the night to dry out, and we live in a very dry climate anyway. So by morning, these are fully dried, and in the morning, in the early morning hours, the oil concentration is up in the leaves. When it gets hotter, it goes back down. So you want to cut in the morning. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck with your dried herbs. So these are already clean, and I'm drying them inside. I'm drying them in a place that is fairly enclosed and fairly clean of itself. If I were drying them outside in the tool shed, for instance, not so. That'd be fine for potpourri, but it's going to be pretty dusty. And I like my herbs clean. Now you can see that these leaves are pretty much still intact. They're broken up a little bit, but not that much. Certainly not what you buy in a little jar at the store. And you know what? I'm going to keep it like that. I'm going to pack these loosely into gallon jars, and I will not crush these leaves until I'm ready to use them. When I crush them, I will crush them between my hands, like so, and you end up with green confetti, as Frederick says. And that's when most of that scent is released. It's wonderful. So I will store them when they're fully dried then. I store them loosely in gallon containers, and at some point, I'm probably going to let you in on some of the fun with this, at some point we'll be mixing this with some other dried herbs and some key ingredients to make a great mixture for Christmas gifts. So if you've got herbs in your garden, I encourage you to dry for the winter. I encourage you to dry for gift giving. I encourage you to dry just because it's fun. It's just wonderful to walk through a room and smell little whiffs of basil or peppermint or oregano drying. It's just so fresh and farm-like. I love it. So I wanted to share with you about basil. If you don't have any basil in your garden now, make plans for next year. You don't want to miss it. It grows easily in containers as well as in the open field. So there you go. See you next time. God bless.